Hey everybody, I am really honored today to introduce you to a man who really needs no introduction at all in this group. He was such a huge inspiration for me as far as becoming a health coach. And I'm going to try to get him on right now while I introduce him. So give me just a sec. I have to do this on my phone, so it's a little awkward. Oh, I don't know if he's there. Okay. Chris is one of the most respected clinicians and educators in functional medicine. He's the director of the Center for Functional Medicine. Hello.
We did it.
Here he is. I was just reading your bio, but he's also the founder of Kresser Institute, of course, and a New York Times bestselling author. And I'm so delighted to have you here today, Chris. I've been stalking you for about a decade now, and it's wonderful to see you in person. I know a lot of people are very excited to have you here today, so thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here, Jodi. Thank you for the invite, and hello, everyone in the group.
Wonderful. And I was just wondering, so aside from the numerous requests you got, probably from me, from emailing you, but I know you recently started a health coaching program, and I'm wondering what prompted you to start that.
Yeah, great question. You know, I'm primarily a functional medicine clinician, as you know, and I started out treating patients one-on-one and quickly realized that there was going to be a big limit to how many people I would be able to serve that way. And there was also not enough functional medicine practitioners available. I would get requests for referrals all the time, and I just didn't have enough people to send them to. So that led to me launching the ADAPT Practitioner Training Program, which has been in operation since 2016, where we train functional medicine providers with an ancestral health background. It's a one-year training program. And that's been very successful, and hoping it's helping to alleviate the shortage of practitioners. But then, you know, after 10 years of seeing patients, it became really clear to me that changing our diet, lifestyle, and behavior is by far the biggest step we can take to prevent and reverse disease. And, you know, I like to say most healthcare is self-care, which means that you might go to the doctor, whether it's a conventional doctor or a functional medicine doctor, a few times a year, but the rest of the time you're just kind of on your own, making choices about what you eat and how you exercise, sleep, manage your stress, etc. And that's really where the rubber meets the road. And so I recognize that health coaching would have to be a huge part of the solution to chronic disease. And we don't have enough doctors to educate people that way. They're not actually the appropriate professionals to do that because they're not trained in coaching modalities. And that's where I became really passionate about health coaching. And so I took a look at all the programs that were out there, and there are certainly some programs that have some really strong areas, but there wasn't one that had everything that I would want in a coach that I was going to hire in my own clinic. You know, I wanted someone with strong core coaching skills, not just learning about them in a book, but actually having lots of practice before they graduate from the program so they're confident in their coaching skills. I wanted someone with pretty deep knowledge of functional and ancestral health. So, you know, all of the diet, lifestyle principles that I talk about are important, I think, to preventing and reversing disease. And then I wanted people to really know how to collaborate with practitioners in a clinical environment. What I saw was a lot of coaching programs that were training people to just function on their own in private practice, and there's nothing wrong with that, and that's a totally valid pursuit. But I think that we do best in a kind of collaborative team approach, where the health coach is part of a care team, you know, with a clinician, a doctor, maybe a nurse practitioner, and they are part of this, you know, legitimate professional team that's providing great care to the patient. And in order for that to happen, they have to be trained on how to work effectively in that kind of environment. And I didn't see that happening in many of the coaching programs. So that was what led to the creation of the ADAPT Health Coach Training Program.
That's great. And I think to your point, most of these schools do teach entrepreneurial. You know, they tell you can do anything with it, but it's definitely an entrepreneurial approach. And not everybody out there is an entrepreneur. And I see so many people struggling to get their business off the ground because they just don't have either that gene in it or that training,
Yeah.
that kind of training. It takes a lot to get a business
It
off the
sure
ground.
does.
So
Yeah.
it's wonderful. And to have something with your name where you're so well respected in the field, I think a lot of medical professionals are going to be looking for your certification when they hire on health coaches. And I really agree with you that it's the model of the future. It's the way to
Yeah,
wellness.
those are great points, Jodi. And it's true that a lot of people who are drawn to health coaching, and I would say even health and wellness in general, are people who want to help and support others. They're not, and that's not necessarily the person who has the entrepreneurial spirit. Sometimes they go together, but often they don't. And the other thing is that it can be quite isolating to just work on your own as a solo entrepreneur and run your own business. And a lot of, like the coaches that work with us and people that we train and we hear from find it very fulfilling and rewarding to be part of a team where they're viewed as a credible professional and part of this care team. And they're actually, working with, they have the support and they can bounce ideas back off of their colleagues. And it's a much more, like I said, collaborative system, and they don't feel so isolated. So I think many people prefer that, even if they work in private practice. Like we train coaches. I think, in fact, we have the most robust business and professional development program of any coaching program that I've seen. It's a full year. And we have Keith Reese, who was my marketing and business coach for 10 years, who is leading that track. And he not only has worked with me, but many high-profile people in the functional health space, and helped Peter D'Adamo, if you remember back for the Eat Right for Your Type empire, create his whole system. So he's been involved in marketing and business development for health professionals for 35 plus years, and he knows this world inside and out. And so we do provide a very robust curriculum for business development and professional development, but the emphasis is on being part of a team, even if you're working in solo practice, like how to reach out to clinicians and form a referral partnership, we even provide cover letters, and I educate them on how to actually make that approach, because I'm a clinician myself. So I know what works and what doesn't work. So it has to be an emphasis of any program, whether people are interested in our program or another one, making sure that they provide that professional development is critical.
Yeah, and I really love that you bring in so many top of the line professionals into your school to do the training at what they are truly best at training. So bringing in people from the outside to do some of it, and then the combination of that with your expertise, it just seems like a home run to me. But I'm wondering, can you just tell me, what should members of this group know about functional medicine health coaching?
Well, I think it's the future of healthcare for sure. As I said before, there's not going to be enough doctors to solve chronic disease. There's predicted to be a shortage of 50,000 primary care providers by the year 2030. And, I'm having conversations with venture capitalists, with people at high levels in government, with, people who are, at the C-level in insurance companies. Everyone knows this, and health coaching is really is one of the hottest topics at this point in all of these conversations, because they know that we'll never be able to train enough doctors. And as I said before, doctors don't really have the training and skills to help people change their behavior. That's what a health coach does. So health coaching is definitely key, but on its own, I don't think it's enough, because if you're working as part of a care team, let's say at my clinic or Dr. Hyman's clinic, you really have to have a firm grasp of functional medicine and functional health. Because imagine I prescribe a treatment plan to a patient, and it's got a lot of moving parts, a lot of complexity, and then the patient is confused and they need support implementing it. If the health coach doesn't have a clue what any of the things are in the treatment plan or what I'm talking about, they're not going to be able to help the patient very well, and they're not going to be able to help me as the practitioner very well. And so that was really, again, one of the reasons we created the ADAPT program is it wasn't enough to have just the core coaching skills or just the functional medicine or functional health training. We had to have both of those together. And in particular, a real emphasis on practical application. So that is a big difference between our practitioner program and other functional medicine training programs. To give you an example, in some programs you go to the class or the course and you learn in general about, let's say, GI conditions and all of the kinds of testing that's available and what you can do. In our course, I teach people the exact labs that I use. I teach them how to interpret those labs. I teach them what treatments to prescribe, including specific products based on those lab results, how to customize the treatment based on the lab results and the patient's presentation. So it's really more like an internship or a residency than it is like medical school. And our coaching program is similar. We don't just teach people about coaching. From the very beginning, the very first day, people are practicing with their peer-to-peer partner. They're meeting weekly with very experienced mentor coaches. They're meeting in separate meetings with teaching assistants in the functional health track. We have, I think, more hours of practical experiential training than any other program that I'm aware of, because we want people to be able to, on the day that they graduate and even before, be coaching very effectively. And we've got 25 practice coaching sessions that people have to do during the practicum, not with other students, but recruiting clients from outside of the program, so they get real experience with real coaching, and then they're getting supervision from the mentor coaches who can give them feedback on those sessions and help them grow. And we've had students actually getting jobs while they were still in the program as a result of this, because they have developed so much skill and competency within the first 6 to 8 months of the program.
That's fantastic. I mean, I remember graduating a health coaching program and trying to do my first intake, and it was ugly. And, I had practiced a bit, but I didn't have that mentorship piece of it. I practiced with, it was required that you practice with at least X number, right. I think 6 or 12 people or whatever. But I had nobody listening and watching and telling me, okay, this is what you should say, and this is what I would have done. And just having that would have been such a relief for me, because I mean, I almost gave it up. Yeah. I almost did, because it was really hard.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a game changer, and that happens in our program in small group settings, but we also have 3 one-on-one sessions where you record a portion of your coaching session with a practice client, and then you go and listen to it with the supervisor. So in real time, the supervisor is listening and giving you feedback for improvement based on the core competencies that we are part of our program, and then are part of the NBHWC process, which we're one of the few fully approved training programs for NBHWC, which we're really proud of, because we really want to help raise the bar on coaching credibility and legitimacy within the eyes of the medical profession, both conventional medicine and functional medicine. So that feedback, both in a group setting and one-on-one, is critical. And I always like to tell people, learning to coach is kind of like learning to play a musical instrument or a sport. Yeah, you can read a lot about it in a book, and you can talk about it at a cocktail party and sound like you're really knowledgeable about it. But if you don't actually play the piano and get your hands on the keys, or get out on the tennis court and swing the racket around, you're not going to be a very, very good player, right? I think we all understand that. And yet, in a lot of the coaching programs that I evaluated, there was a lot of information, but not enough practice and experience. And so we tried to flip that around. And our learning model, we call it a flipped classroom, where basically there's a little bit of information, and then the rest of the time you're practicing and getting feedback from the mentor coaches. And that's really how we learn best.
That's fantastic. I love it. Tell me, in this group, there's a lot of people that have already been to functional medicine programs. Mm-hmm. They've not functional, sorry, but health coaching right. programs. there are some people that have done functional
Yeah.
programs too, but some people have done like shorter programs, weekend programs, 6-week programs, different programs, and maybe have had trouble getting their business off the ground. And there are a bunch of people in this group that are looking for health coaching programs as a first choice. And I'm wondering if you could tell me what are some of the main things they should be asking about or looking for?
Yeah, I would say above all else, that you learn that the program offers real experiential, practical, hands-on training and core coaching modalities, which is what we were just talking about. It's surprising to me in some way that a lot of health coaching programs don't offer that. They're really actually more nutrition focused, which is fine and important too. We include a lot of nutrition study in our program as well, but I think where we're moving now as a profession is there's a growing recognition that there are evidence-based skills and competencies that are required to really be an effective health coach. And this is where groups like the NBHWC, National Board for Health and Wellness Coaches, have made a big contribution in laying what those skills are out so that people know what to expect if they're going to hire a credentialed health coach. So, you know, having those core coaching skills, but as I said, not just learning about them from a book or watching PowerPoint presentations, actually practicing and doing it to the point where you can develop some mastery and confidence, before you even graduate, but certainly after you've graduated. That would be number one. Number two, as I mentioned, a strong functional health track is critical. You know, we're at a point now where more than 1 in 2 Americans has a chronic disease. 60%, 40% have more than one chronic disease. And even though as a coach, I don't believe your job is to tell people what to do. It's also true that people, if you are working, especially in a clinical environment, but even on your own, they're going to have questions about, you know, diet, lifestyle, etc. And being a good resource and having a solid understanding of all the functional health principles can better allow you to better serve your clients that way. And I think the third thing, which we've also touched on, is a really solid business and professional development track. So you mentioned that a lot of coaches have expressed frustration after attending a shorter program, that they're having trouble getting their business off the ground, or they're having trouble forming connections with practitioners maybe that they can collaborate with. And that's heartbreaking to me, because we need coaches desperately in order to solve this problem. And I want to do everything I can to enable people to be successful. So we created this professional and business development track. It's a full year. It goes through the entire length of our program. It's extremely robust. As I mentioned, it's in part led by Keith Reese, who's been my marketing business coach and has helped a lot of health practitioners over 35 years. And because I'm a clinician and because we also train practitioners, we have an enormous amount of resources that we offer students. So we've got something called the Marketing and Practice Support Kit, or MAPS, where we've got over 50 client handouts that I use in my own practice on everything from, diet resets to stress management techniques to, recommended physical activity, etc. And we have something called the handout generator. So you put your logo in there, you put your colors, you put your address, contact information, and automatically creates these handouts with your branding and logo and color and information, so you can hand them right to your clients. And instead of giving them handouts from me, you're giving them handouts that look like you professionally designed them for yourself. We basically wanted to create like a practice in a box kind of thing, where you've got all the forms and things that you need to get started, and so you can hit the ground running. And I think that makes our program stand out from a lot of others that are out there.
That's fantastic. How great that would have been when I was starting out to have that made up, because that just takes hours and hours.
A lot of money and a lot of time. I spent probably tens of thousands of dollars over 10 years developing this library of handouts and cheat sheets and worksheets, and we don't hold anything back. We want people to succeed right from the get-go, so that's all part of the program.
I love it. I love all the you know, how it's such a turnkey kind of approach to it, where you can just get your business going and coach. And that's all we want to do,
Exactly.
right? I mean, we don't want to be marketing people. We don't want to do, you know, we want all that stuff. And I love also, Chris, that it's evidence-based. And this is something I respect about you and everything you've done, is that, you know, you research and you understand and you get this stuff. And, you know, not to disparage some of the other coaching programs out there, but I will say that, you know, going through where I went, there were some conflicts in what they were saying. There were a lot of theories of dietary theories and things out there. And I felt like some of them were contradictory. Some of them were against a lot of things that I'd learned from you and some of the other pioneers in the ancestral movement. And I guess it's hard because you don't, you know, some of the things that could be recommended are like, even one of the theories is low fat, high carb diet, which is a great way to get type 2 diabetes, you know? So I just love that part of it. And I'm really glad that that you're doing this. I mean, I remember, you know, just wishing that this program was around when I had gone to school, so I could have done it.
I appreciate that. And as you said, it's very important to me. That's been just a foundation of my work from the beginning, is that everything that we do as practitioners or coaches should be guided by evidence. And the good news is there's tons of evidence to support health coaching, both in terms of the core coaching skills like motivational interviewing and positive psychology and stages of change, and, you know, helping support people with accountability. That's why including those in the training is so critical, because if you look at studies on health coaching and the effectiveness of it, that's what people are doing. You can't apply the results of those studies to a program that's not teaching those modalities in depth, because then you just get people telling their clients what to do, which we know doesn't work. 6% of Americans consistently engage in the top 5 health behaviors, which are maintaining a healthy weight, not smoking, not drinking excessively, getting enough sleep, and getting enough physical activity. Do we really think it's because people don't know that those things are healthy? Of course not. They know that they're healthy. They're not able to stick with it because change is hard. And so as a health coach, you're really a change agent. And the most effective health coaches will be the ones who actually understand that information is not transformation. You know, really understanding how to support people and making lasting change is what's going to make you an effective health coach. And that's evidence-based. And then, of course, as you said, the ancestral health principles, they're also evidence-based. You know, they're not the dominant paradigm theory at this point, although that's even changing now. You see now even the American Diabetes Association accepts that the low-carb diet can be effective for treating diabetes. Like, I mean, that just happened, but it's amazing it took that long given the research that's been out there. But, so yeah, it's about being on the cutting edge too of all of this stuff, not being like 30 years old in terms of the research that we're relying on, but actually paying attention to what's happening now and where we're going in the future rather than relying on the past. And that's a critical part of our program.
Yeah, I really love that positive psychology piece too, because to your point, it's not just the information. If it was that, all they would need to do is go to a functional doctor, and that would be all you need.
Or just Google. Google would solve all of our health problems. Exactly. There's plenty of information on Google.
The info's out there. Read Chris's book.
I wish that worked. It doesn't work. Yeah.
Problem solved, right? But anyway, I just want to wrap up and find out, can you tell us, you touched on this a bit, but are there any more kind of career opportunities that there are for health coaches?
Yeah.
Maybe you'd like to.
Yeah, it's an exciting time, I think, to be a health coach. It's already a $6 billion market, as I'm sure you know, and it's one of the fastest growing professions in the US for all the reasons that we've been talking about. And so we're already seeing some interesting opportunities develop. So we can kind of break them into 3 big categories. So one would be getting a full-time job as a health coach, as like a W-2 employee with a paycheck and benefits and vacation and all the rest of it. that really wasn't an option 10 years ago, or not for very many people. And now it's becoming increasingly an option with, larger functional medicine clinics like mine, or Dr. Hyman's, or the Cleveland Clinic, or a growing number of clinics around the country, primary care groups like Iora Health that are using health coaches to reverse type 2 diabetes in the Rocky Mountain area. You've got a growing number of apps like Noom, which is a weight loss app that utilizes health coaches. One of our students actually got a job with them before she even finished the program. You've got so-called doc in the box companies where there's kind of like an online, virtual medicine concierge program, and they're using health coaches. You've got 60% of businesses now have corporate wellness programs, many of which are employing health coaches. So you have a really exciting, growing number of opportunities that are available for health coaching or health coaches. It's not yet as robust of a profession as, say, if you're a registered nurse, or you're a physical therapist or an occupational therapist, but I think we're going to see some really positive changes over the coming years in that regard. And then you could also be like a part-time employee or independent contractor in any of those scenarios. And this often appeals to people who want a variety in their work. Maybe they want to, for example, we have a health coach who does some work at our clinic, and she does some work at another clinic. And, she's an independent contractor at both of those clinics, and then has some of her own clients as well. So that's one of the great things about health coaching is flexibility as a profession. You can really kind of mix and match and set it up in the way that works best for you. And then the last option would be private practice, which is a totally legitimate career path. I hope I didn't come across before as saying it's not. It's just not for everybody. And it's not the only thing that most people want to do. We have a lot of our coaches who do some combination of working for a clinic, working for a private practice, maybe even doing some work for a school and teaching. And that tends to work best for most people. But we do emphasize that even if someone is in private practice, that they have some kind of relationship and collaboration with other practitioners and professionals, so that they're part of this larger care team and they're not so, isolated on their own.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. There are so many opportunities. And I think the common thread that all of them have is that we need competence among health coaches. Yes. We need people that really know what they're doing, and have confidence. And you can, I've been approached by physicians to take me on board, but it's because I've had extensive training. I've had to go on and learn a lot of my own after my health coach training in order to get to the confidence that I needed, and that, again, I wish your program had been around back then. But yeah, so I think that it's going to be wonderful for so many of you out there to look into this program and explore it. And I wanted to say, I'm going to put a link in the comments below. There's one in the post announcing this, the link there. So if you guys want to click on that link, you're going to be sent a packet. It's a free webinar that Chris did. And also you're going to get a discount for if you sign up by, give me the date, Chris.
August 31st, end of this month. Yeah. $1,000 off. So you'll get the program, early bird pricing. And yeah, that's till the end of this month.
Yeah, and I have to say the pricing, it's not as cheap as some of the other ones, but you're getting what you pay for, guys. This is Chris Kresser's program. His name carries a lot of weight in the functional medicine world. People know who he is, and if they know you've gone through their training, it's going to make through his training, it's going to make your life a lot easier getting your foot in the door of established medical practices. It's a great credential to have, and I'm so happy to have had you here today, Chris. Any parting words or words of wisdom you'd like to, or any question? I think there were some questions that came up too. If Dana, if you want to retype it, it went by. I can't see it right now.
On the screen here, but yeah, I just want to thank everyone for being in this group and part of this movement. As I said before, we desperately need all of you to be working towards preventing and reversing chronic disease, and you can make a big impact. I mean, it's so fulfilling and rewarding to be able to touch people in this way and change lives. And I know it's not easy some of the time, and there's a lot of struggle, but it's so worth it because, you know, when you, I like to call this the rocking chair test, and you imagine yourself in your rocking chair at age 100, hopefully, maybe 110 or 120, and you look back on your life, it's these kinds of interactions that you have with clients and taking these kind of leaps of faith where you move towards your heart and what you really are passionate about that are going to stand out. And those are the choices that we'll be glad that we made looking back on our life from the rocking chair. So thank you all for listening and for being part of this movement, because we need each and every one of you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Chris. And guys, there's payment plans available too. So definitely click on the link, get the information, and get the webinar packet that Chris is going to send. And thank you so much again, Chris. You're welcome to come back anytime.
Thank you, Jodi. I enjoyed it, and
All
I
right.
appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks so much. Take care.